Hello and good day. We're going to do like a form of a shave test today. I've bought a nice new razor. Where have I put it? I've lost it. It is a Dorko. Well, I've been after a Dorko for a number of years, probably about 3 years. I've had one come through me. I think it was a 1156. I might get that wrong, but it's got like the nice inlaid handle, the scales, and it just had a bit of homeware, so I'm a bit finicky now with the ones I want to keep because I wasn't going to end up with too many. So yeah, I sold it basically. It was a great shaver. It was like the metal was just top notch. So I don't believe this is the original scales. The reasons why: Dorko were known for good scales, like a bit fancy. Dorko are known just full stop for being the higher class of German Soligen sort of razor production. I don't believe they would have left the razor like that, meaning there's too big a gap to the wedge. Just don't believe they would have done that. And also the hardware here is brass, whereas here it's nickel. You know, they could have whatever, they could have cleaned the razor and done whatever, I know, but I get the feeling that it's not. So I'm going to rescale it, and I'm probably going to rescale it with some of the same scale material as my Parker 101. The other thing, oh sorry, I was going to tell you something else, but anyway, I'll show you the razor because that's what you want to see in it. It is a Dorko 14 pattern. It is like sort of 24.5mm, so it's nearly full scale, full size. And what makes this razor quite special to me is it's got Swedish steel. And I don't know any other 14 razors, and I can't find any online anywhere that have got Swedish steel. Like, I just can't find it. So to me, it's quite a special 14, and it's a Dorko, which all Dorkos are a bit special to me, frankly. The grind's a little bit different. It's got some little bits different. So the gimping on the back here, it's got some sort of different details. The actual, so I'll just run downstairs and run upstairs. The actual grind is a bit different as well. I think it is anyway. I think there's a tiny bit more meat in the hollow part of the blade. I've been studying the 3 other ones, 14s I've got, like Gallimero Hope and the Filomonaco I've got, and it looks a bit different to me. I've looked at it at all sorts of angles and everything, and also there's no belly that I can feel, you know, and you can feel the bellies on the 14s relatively easy, and it just don't feel like there's a belly at all. It just transitions and just goes to that thickness on the hollow. So I'm excited to shave with it. It's not my edge. The person I bought it off said it was shave ready. Whether it is, it's kind of popping hairs a bit, not as I expect. I've looked under the microscope, and there's some definite little rolls going on down here, and I reckon that's where, when it's closed, look, and that's again, this is why I don't think the scales are the scales. Look, it's close, man. If I stick my finger like that, I can nearly touch the blade with what my skin's going in, so sometimes that can get damaged, that area, because of that. But anyway, I'm excited, man. It's cost me an absolute fortune. This is double the price of any other razor I've ever bought. For God's sake, don't ever mention that to the wife, unless she comes on here and says how much my razor's worth, and then we can say 500. It didn't cost me that much, but it felt like it. Oh dear. So I've got some other razors to show you. I actually did start this video 10 minutes ago, and then for some reason my camcorder just decided to completely dump me off, and I've had to start again, which is not happy chappy to me. But anyway, let's go again. Right, some of these are the razors I've got ready this week. This one's a Butler, very famous Sheffield make. I think this was not honed ever before. It is just a lovely razor. It sits both sides lovely on the stones. It has got the smallest bevel. The steel's lovely. It is popping hairs like nobody's business. I don't ever think that's been shaved. I don't ever think it's been honed properly or anything. This razor is a Turner, and it is the medium-sized hollow ground celebrated. Let me start again. It's the celebrated medium-sized hollow ground razor by Turner, Thomas Turner, Cutlers to His Majesty, Sheffield. And again, it's a lovely razor. It sat very nice. There was a little bit of a problem child on one side around here. I can't remember what side, but it was easy to fix. It just needed a little bit more time spent on it, basically. But it's quite a thin hollow, and there's a definite sort of belly-ish thing going on here. Yeah, Yeah, a little one, but there's something going on there with a little belly. Seems like a lovely razor. This razor is one of my new keepers, and this is going to oust some of my other little Sheffields that I've got. It's a Geo Woolston Tome Peerless. And this razor come to me, and I forget where I've got it from. I've got to try and search through my photos and whatnot, but it come to me, it was a bit of a bad state, man. I've got the box for it somewhere that you can barely even tell it is this box, but it is. And it had all sorts of marks on it. It was quite black. You could barely see the gold etching, and yeah, but it's come out absolutely lovely. And again, super Sheffield steel, sits lovely on the stones. It's got a lovely bevel. On the back there, on the stamp, it says trademark, registered December 1694. Imagine that. And that little sign there, I think, is the pipe razor sign. But I'm not 100% sure, and I have to have a double check. J. Woolston, Sun in Sun, Sheffield, England, Peerless. And it feels like it's going to be Peerless. Good name to put on there, I'll tell you. This is one of my first ever. I've just noticed actually it's got quite a bit of a tail on that. I like that as well. I had a 14 pattern that did that, and it fits really nice on your finger. This is my first like Fisher that's real decent, and again this sits lovely on the stones. This is one of my favourite ones on the stones this week. That and the Butler, it was just great. And I believe this is an older Fisher. It's definitely not more like one of the more modern ones. It just has that feel to it. It's just a little bit older than some of the other ones I've handled. Great steel from Germany, just a top-notch razor, I reckon. All these are popping airs like nobody's business this week, because I feel like I've actually made a bit of progress on the edges. So when you get decent at edges, and I think I can say I'm pretty decent with edges, you then have to start searching for just incremental sort of improvements and try and figure out, like, you know, where you might be not doing your best and this and that. I just realised I've got a little nick on the little tang there. Yeah, and well, basically I've made some progress. I definitely, and what I search for now, because I know my edges are good. If I do certain things, I go through the progression, I do this, I do that, I know I'm going to end up with a decent edge. I can nearly do it blindfolded. But I want to be more consistent with knowing that I'm getting better edges, and which effectively means I'm saving myself time. And I really feel like I've nailed a few things this week. It's been quite a, well, last week and this week, but this week's been the real sort of, wow, a bit of a eureka moment, which is quite rare, like when you get half decent at things. But again, you can find little things that you can get better at. So this is a Dovo. This is an older Dovo, I'm sure of it. This is a 518, I believe. It's 8 or a 9, but I think it's an 8, and it says 6/8. Dovo registered, and it's got some etching on it. It's a bit faint, and it says Lee Dovo, and there's, I think, well, it is, it's like a spread bird's wings. But lovely razor, great steel. There's a tiny bit lacking on the toe, but it's still kind of popping airs, so we'll see how it performs. I'm not too bothered about it, like, because again, this razor is being chased to the toe a little bit already, so you have to be quite careful when you're honing these razors, because you can affect that more. So sometimes you've got to try and concentrate more in this area to try and get that area back, and you can do it through the passage of time. You don't have to do it all in one honing session, you know. You don't need to chase all the time. And this is my little shorty, man. So this razor come to me in a job lot. I had a crack that was literally there, and I've grinded it. I've done this little grind thing on the toe, if you can't see it. A bit like my Parker 100 or Gold Rex. They like Japanese razors, they like doing that thing, and I really like it. I think it makes the toe pop a bit, whether you can see it or not. It had some really bright gold etching, but I dulled it down because it looked a bit silly popping out like that when sort of some of it was missing. Whether I've done the right thing now, I don't know, but anyway. Yeah, and this steel is super tough, and I'll tell you, it's popping airs, like, and it makes a different noise and everything. I'm not a fan of the steel though, I must say. It seems a bit too rigid is probably the word, but I'm not a specialist in steel. I love steel, but I'm not a specialist in it. But either, it seemed like a bloody great razor, and it would have been. I was just a bit gutted I found a bloody great big crack on it. And this is one of my new keepers as well. It's got some really lovely old sort of style pinning. Nickel silver with brass pins going through the middle, both ends. It's a horn scales. They're a tiny bit bowed, but it's still sort of settling nice within them, so it never bothers me in that done. It's got some sort of like pitting on the spine, but that's about it. And look at this, gents, look. It's a Joseph Rogers, man. Premier Sheffield, these are. And it's a proper true wedge. I mean, a proper true wedge. Anybody wants to know a wedge? This is it. The proper Sheffield wedge. I went to work on this with the DMT diamond plate, so I think this was, well, I say NOS, I don't mean NOS, I mean untouched. It seemed to me like this had been sent to a bloody shop with the most weirdest bevel thing set on the edge. It was kind of like quite a thin bevel, and it was like that all the way along it though, so there was kind of like a sharp edge, but it was like wildly, you know, it's meant to be like that, and it was like this. So it was almost like the factory had sort of set it in a way, you know, to make sure the edge was all right and whatnot, but then sent it out. So I took the DMT plate to this, the extra coarse DMT plate, which absolutely freaks some people out, but when you've got a job to do, you've got to do it. So I stuck a bit of tape on there, and I've shaped the heel in a bit more, just because I like it. It's my razor, I can do what I want with it. I didn't chase it around much, but I like that look more, and it's more functionable to me as well. And then I got to work on it. You know, I've used that DMT extra coarse on it. It's basically lost no width whatsoever, because all it's done is it's shaped the edge for me and chased the bevel. And if you see, which you can see, I know you can, look at the size of the bevel on that, but it's quite straight for a wedge. And look at the home wear on it, it's just lovely, like flat both sides, straight, well, straight-ish, both sides. Have a look at the other side. And to say this has had some work done on it, I mean time, is just an understatement. It has been hours and hours, but it's just lovely. I love a Joseph Rogers. I love a wedge like this, and I'm really short of wedges like this in my collection, so it's just lovely. Look at it, just beautiful, isn't it? Hey, there we go. Yeah, and I chased it with a DMT plate, and then 320, and then 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 8,000, 12,000, slurry, JNAT, and then clear to slurry, and blah blah blah. And it's turned out lovely, and it's like these like wedges are like stealth destroyers for your hairs. Like, you know, that's popping hairs, HHT, not like a really fine hollow, I must say, which is very common with the wedges, but it pops them like silent. It's like the silent assassin of hairs they are. So I'm excited to shave with that. I'll do a separate video, I think, just for that, because it's such a fine razor. I'm quite shy on Joseph Rogers because they're like ends teeth in that kind of condition. They can go for big butts. And that one actually slipped right through my sort of my processing system, as I call it. So that one was just in my 320 drawer, and it had just been sat in there. I completely missed it. I must have done. So when I found it, I was like, oh, look at this little beauty I've missed. So anyway, I got to work on it, and it's turned out, I think, marvellous. I've got a backup razor waiting up there. Obviously I've got all them ones behind me as well, but I've got my Geo that I fixed the micro peen in, that's sat up there, just in case. If my dogs go off, it's because my girls are coming home. I think they're gearing up. Like I said, I should have done this 10-15 minutes ago. But lo and behold, my camcorder did a brain fart and stopped on me. Yeah, there you go, that's there. Knocking and everything. That's my daughter. Giving it the big one. British leather today. I can't remember if I did do that at the beginning. Chubby 2, British leather. Now, just let me tell them quick. I am still doing my video because everything went wrong. No, that's alright, don't matter. Yeah, I know, everything went wrong. My camcorder started doing weird stuff. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah, and I find myself being drawn to this even more and more. Especially when I've got a razor I like and want to try, and I don't know. It's just got this gentlemanly kind of smell and aura about it. But yeah, it does, I'm getting drawn to it. So let's see if we can get a nice lava going. Give the razor the best chance we can. I'm not sure how it's going to shave. I reckon it might be alright. it's definitely not popping hairs the way I expect. I've done some work on my strop downstairs, my nice clean fast horse strop. I might give it a few whirls on this in a moment. And I might just might do one pass, because otherwise I'm going to get in trouble. Do you know why? I ain't peeled the spuds yet for dinner. We're having bangers and mash, and if you don't know what that is, it's big sausages and mashed potato. I might actually just cool down to cover my arse. I'll do them spuds in a minute. There we go, covered my arse. There was already murmurings of trouble brewing. Every man knows what I mean, I think. Just have to deal with women all their life. You know. Sounds a bit different on the strops as well, I must say. It just don't seem as like ringy than I'm excited to restore it, I know that much. I am going to go to absolute town on it. I'm going to do my very best. Like I said, it costs a lot of money. I've got sort of probably about 6 or 7 razors that I can't ever really envision selling, and I reckon this might be one. So it's on the non-phase side. It's got this. It had a band of pitting going along there, and I've only hand polished it. And I got most of it out, which was not as much as I was going to think I was going to get out. But under the microscope, it is actually little pits. So I am going to use a bit of sandpaper on that side. I think I'm going to start at like 3,000, go to 5,000, and then 7,000, and see if I can't get them out. But anyway, let's have a look. Let's have a feel even. Well, it is shave ready. See, that goes to prove, doesn't it? You know, that weren't popping hairs. I think there's a few spots though where it's not bob on. Whenever I get a razor in that is meant to be shave ready, I always like shaving with it, because it's a good gauge of my edge, isn't it? That's a good edge. Well, gents, this bodes really well, because that ain't the best edge the edge can be anyway, even if it is a decent edge, if you know what I mean, because there's clearly some bits on it I can see that would mar the performance of it a tiny bit under my scope. There's a few rolls and there's a few little bits and bobs, nicky stuff and that, but so this is going to shave like a dream once I've had a go on it. Okay. Swedish Steel 14, can't find another one. I'd happily be, well, not proved wrong, because it's not proved wrong, but I'd happily know. I've used 2 different browsers. Oh, it's just about to drop. It's definitely a synthetic edge as well. To me it looks like a sort of 10 to 12,000 edge. Definitely not a natural edge on it. That's why it's even more kind of well, good in a way, because some synthetics around that range, they can get a bit bitey, even more so with 14 I find. Gonna get to work on that next week. Lovely. Breeds confidence raises like that. It is a good edge, that is. I'm actually surprised, I really am. Right. Yeah, I'm only gonna do one pass today because that's done. This smells better on the second go sometimes. What we'll do as well, I will just go on my problem areas, I will just go backwards and see how tight I can get them. Yeah, just getting them. Right, I'm gonna love you, leave you. Go and peel some spuds. Till the next time, gents. Toodaloo.